Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Anasa. Here we are. Hmm. So happy to be here with you. So, sit a little bit differently. Yeah, there we go. So, let's meditate. Hmm. So, take your attention inside and pull it all the way down to the tip of your tailbone. And take a second, pull your shoulders back in a circle and around so you feel them open a little bit. Do a gentle circle with your head. So your neck is starting to relax a bit. First one way, then the other. We're just doing what this body needs to warm up for meditation. And then, lean back and forward a few times so that you get the feel of the motion of your torso in your hips. And see if you can feel from the tip of your tailbone to the top of your head before we even start. Just physically feel for that. And take your breath all the way down on the inhale and then all the way up on the exhale. We'll do a few breaths like that. Breathing in all the way down and breathing out all the way up. And then we're going to do something a little different this morning, and that's set the intention for ourselves to find a state of balance and ease. And we'll talk about this as we go along, but we'll say that we've come to understand that setting intention before anything you do is really, really, anything we do is really, really important. Because if we don't know what we're aiming for, it's hard to hit it. And we know that access to divinity comes through a state of balance and harmony. And so to live in that, we need to set our intention for balance and harmony. And then we can use our curiosity to go further into divinity. We hope that makes sense. So, having set the intention for balance and harmony, we're going to breathe into the tip of the tailbone and feel for that gentle motion forward and backward with our breath. And then begin to feel into that energetic center with the Om sound and our breath. And we'll go 9 breaths in each energy center as we work our way up to the top of the head in our meditation. So we'll start at the tip of the tailbone, and I'll tell you when to change energy centers so you don't have to count yourself. So starting at the tip of the tailbone, we'll go 9. Moving to the center just below the belly button. moving to the solar plexus. Moving to the heart center. Moving to the throat. Now moving to the third eye. And now the top of the head and above. Feeling into your energetic body. Just take a few minutes in the circulation of that field. And when you're ready, ever so gently, keeping your awareness completely in your energetic field, just gently, slowly, one crack at a time, open your eyes and allow yourself to be completely in your energetic experience as your eyes open. And we welcome you to the program today. Very happy to be here. A lot more present than the last time. Maybe, hard to say who's present when. But Rebecca is feeling physically much, much better than the last time. And things are continuing to improve. Drinking my turpentine tasting Chinese herbs. So before we start, we're going to talk a little bit about setting intention and balance and harmony and why it's important. And this isn't original. We're actually taking it from a friend of ours who's, been practicing a long time also. But her name is Mika Karu, and we speak all the time about what we're teaching and experiencing, and often do mantras together. So anyway, she teaches, and very rightly, that if you don't set an intention for your state and for how you're going to aim yourself for a given day, then there is room for some negativity to take over your energy and take it someplace you have no intention of going. So if we sit in meditation just after we wake up and set an intention for balance and harmony, or for, centeredness and well-being, any of these good words, love and peace, joy and happiness, that we really want to set the intention to have that experience in that day. And then we do our meditation and we sort of hold that thought that we're, balance and harmony is a good one, because always all parts are welcome and negative thoughts will certainly arise. But whether we give over our energetic state to them and for how long is up to us. And so setting an intention and coming back to it often as we go through our day is one of the ways that we really bring our practice to the forefront of every moment of our daily life. And also our life at night. If we wake up in a panic or thinking about something that we haven't been able to let go of, we can set an intention to come back to balance, harmony, and ease, and do our practice then. So there's never a time when this isn't an appropriate approach to what we're doing, and when we can't regroup ourselves, set an intention, and kind of drop whatever it is that's trying to take over. So that's all we're going to say about that this morning. We welcome any of your feedback, any of your experiences, anything you want to share with us. We're happy to talk about it. Thanks for being here. And we turn the program over to you. How may we be of assistance today? So, as our bodies coming back, we're able to sit differently, which is totally unexpected. A lot of good things are coming from this surgery. Total metabolic reset. And the chaos is there, but we're still reactive to what's happening rather than understanding it enough to be proactive, because it's changing so much. But it's less dramatic. The amplitude and I can't remember the other word. Amplitude and the frequency are both coming down. But there's still a fair amount of change in process. And so we've decided to enjoy the ride for the most part. And so grateful for the transformation wherever it lands. What an amazing experience to, reclaim physical health. Through modern medicine. And so, we've always said that there's a place for surgery, not that, we've never condemned Western medicine. Pharmaceuticals we're not too happy about, but even those occasionally have their place. And, surgery's not the first option. It's usually the last option, but it's definitely got its place. So, what can we do for you this morning? Yes, please.
Chime in. I don't know if you can hear the music that's going on, but I had it on my Mac and I can't get rid of it.
You can hear that there's something there.
It's beautiful meditation music, but I tried to turn it off and I just couldn't turn it off. And so that was just keeps on going and going and going. And it's just kind of funny because at first it was very soothing and now it's irritating. And I
Right. Yeah. Well, music can do that. Having studied music all our lives, you know, the reason we love music so much is because it can change our frequency instantly from wherever we are to wherever it is. And that is magical. And, Andrew and I are both classical musicians. So the experience of that, both listening to different things and studying and working for mastery in that field is well, the rewards are ever more, they just keep getting stronger as we are able to, at least for ourselves, we're able to experience a kind of temporary mastery and flow in performance that's really, really, we feel worth continuing to, it's a continuous improvement project, as any art is. And of course, our lives are works of art and continuous improvement projects. And yet, there is a finite point with our bodies where continuous improvement stops being really possible. Although this is not a moment to talk about that because we're in such a transformation because of modern medicine. Without the the labs to measure the chemistries of the body, we would never have figured out what was wrong or come to any, any conclusion about how to fix it. So, gratitude is really the name of the day here for us. And just about every breath we feel it because it's so dramatically shifting. And, both of the alternative doctors who've seen us since this happened have said, how many people are walking around with this same condition undiagnosed? Probably a lot. So we're sitting in gratitude, really, and promoting balance and harmony for the theme of our day. It seems that there's a kind of simplicity happening in the political environment between, it almost feels like good and evil, acting themselves out in this moment. And, the feminine has the possibility of making a big shift here if all the women in this country vote. or golden. We heard that somewhere there are people going in the bathrooms, writing in the stalls, "He won't know how you vote. You can choose." So, and we have the Swifties on our side. Hmm. She's a pretty fine person, you know. We've been paying attention to her, and she's got it. The first song we listened to of hers was called "If I Were a Man," and it was so moving. Uh, she has wisdom beyond her years. I mean, we haven't made a great study of what she does, but we looked at her chart. And she has a very good Jupiter Moon association, which gives her a kind of intuitive wisdom and capacity to of course transmit that, which she is doing all the time. And she seems to be fluent on every level of communication, so more power to her. But we're not well studied in her music or songs or lyrics, so we're really just talking on the basis of looking at her chart, not on, you know, really extensive knowledge of her performances. What do you guys want to talk about today? You can tell we're kind of uncomfortable in the body. It's it's changing so much. They're rapidly opening, you know, joints and that's just happening. So we're a little bored with our own process. Could we have some input from you guys for what you'd like to talk about? Yes.
So, a shift has been happening um, over the last few weeks, initiated by doing a whole lot of renovation in the garden, making beds really neat, cleaning them up, planting some things for next year, and in the house, getting started on some major cleaning. Both of those things have been mm, stopping me from having people come here uh, because I I know I feel more comfortable at someone else's home if it's together. It doesn't mean that I don't enjoy them or the visit, but there's something about the space that is conducive to connection and ease and all that. Anyway, and plus, after I do a lot of work, I don't feel like cooking a meal usually. Um, I mean, I do for us, but something for company has been a little bit more than I wanted to chew, as it were. Anyway, the last few weeks, I got comfortable with the level that the place is at, and felt the peace and serenity as a result of that, and have invited people up. Some old friends that we haven't seen for a really long time. We've been in communication with them, but it was so uplifting because they're on a spiritual path. And so we were able to share our experiences. And they said it's the most fun that they've had in a really long time. And that feels wonderful. And then we had our son and his wife up just yesterday. They have been carrying the burden of family gatherings. They always do an amazing job of hosting. And so I had been feeling a little like it was out of balance. And I was able to provide a space and a um, meal and everything, an experience with them that was lovely. Anyway, I felt sort of like we were coming out of a cocoon. Um, it started with COVID, and there's something very relaxing about, okay, we've got an excuse never to do anything really. I mean, have people over or go anywhere or whatever, and it can close down. I was feeling like something was closing down that used to be very open. We used to have a lot of social interactions with lovely people. Anyway, it opened up um, the doors again, and I want to keep going with that. There's more to be done that would make it even better. But I just wanted to report that there's been a shift, and um, even my partner here got on board after some initial reluctance. In fact, grumpfish, he said. Well, his question was, why do you feel the need to have people over? You know, and it wasn't from a need. It was just from a opening to the possibilities of reconnecting with people. And anyway, it's sort of a report, but I know it's as a result of the fact that I get up in the morning and I go out on the porch and I breathe at least. Sometimes I say the mantra um, and just get centered. And I realize that it's setting an intention. I would like to be in a relaxed state about my life and not be like I've been almost all my life. Uh, oh, this will be over and then I'll go on to the next thing. You know, not ever actually sinking into the now, just getting things done and oh, that's over. We'll move on to the next thing. Anyway, so there has been a shift, and I'm intending to continue with that movement.
You know, this is so, so beautiful for you to report that because it's really, you know, most of us spend a third of our lives in the past and a third of our lives in the future. And if we're really lucky, a third of our lives in the present. And to drop the past and in setting an intention for the day, we're also dropping the future. We are bringing ourselves into the now and we are gauging the now by what our intention is rather than where we're trying to go in the world or what we're trying to accomplish for whatever or whoever that might be outside of us. But to really ground our experience into ourselves and allow the past to be the past, the future to be the future, and dedicate ourselves to the quality of the now moment. And so in doing that, we realize when we're in the past or the future, which is when we are not exactly living for ourselves, but some illusion. It is only in the now moment that we're in the truth. And all parts are welcome. You know, just because we discover ourselves to be angry in the now moment is no excuse to shoot ourselves in the foot. We've had this discussion numerous times. So, whatever state we find ourselves in, it's the finding ourselves in it that is to be celebrated, because that's where the change moment comes from. So, when we find ourselves, be grateful for the recognition of whatever darkness we have been entertaining and let go of it. Reset the intention for the day and totally breathe into that feeling. And hopefully, we do much less damage to ourselves as we incorporate that practice into our daily experience. Because it is the self-judgment that is so limiting for all of us when we recognize something and then crucify ourselves on the spot with some past judgment that we decided, to impose on ourselves whenever we ended up doing that or feeling that or becoming that in a moment. Do you understand what we're saying? So,
Yes, it
yeah,
applies to something else that happened, which was a wild goose chase trying to find a Social Security office where it isn't anymore. And we spent 3 hours on the road, and both of us were patient and allowing and enjoying the fall colors, while we're backtracking. And I mean, it was a very frustrating experience ordinarily. And we made it through almost to the end without getting grumpy. But at the end, we turned a little grumpy and had to reorient. The next day, we went on the same quest, and it was super easy. Um, and I mean, just beautiful ease all the way, as in contrast to the ordeal beforehand. But I felt as though the ordeal was practice time, even though I didn't feel like I succeeded in staying peaceful and serene throughout the whole experience. We were both extremely patient with each other and the situation. And that, even if I didn't consider it a success, complete success, um, it was using muscles that need to be used to because life is full of these ordeals. That's that rang a bell with what you were saying.
mhm. Yes, we all have these things that we must do that are challenging, tasks we would rather not complete. We just finished taxes this week. October 15th is the last day of the year. And so we met with our accountant on Friday. And yeah, the moments in these tasks where there's an opportunity to ride a wave of negativity for even having to do the task number one. And then for what we discover in the task that's fearful, And just the difficulty of having to account for all the influx and outgo of everything in our lives. And the opportunities to go south with our energy are numerous, we'll say. And when holding equanimity is the goal, holding to balance and harmony is the goal. Completing the task is always going to be in there somewhere as a goal. We don't exactly need to, most of us spend a lot of attention in making that happen when we're at the X point of the deadline. But holding to the equanimity is not always the easiest thing. And we think that speaks to what you're talking about too. It's just like and these things generally have waves to them where we're, up and down reacting to whatever obstacle we've just discovered or whatever. Interestingly, one would expect these tasks to get easier as we age, but somehow they manage to get harder. Yeah. So that's probably a good argument for retiring, having the numbers go to dial tones. Hmm. So we're going to talk a little bit about living in the Inasa temple, which we brought up last week. The opportunity to actually move inside ourselves to the space of divinity within us. And the truth is that exists in every moment, in every circumstance, whether we are aware of it or not. Understand that the potential to be living in the Inasa temple, living in our own source of divinity, living from our source of divinity every minute is possible for us. It's one choice away. And in cultivating balance and harmony, or whatever words you want to use for a state of balance and harmony, we can call it all kinds of things, but understanding that that is what makes it possible for us to sink into the awareness of that divinity, the gratitude for the flow of life force within us that is available as the next breath. Inhale. And feel the breath carry away the toxins, which is what it does. That's what our body does, trying to bring us into balance and harmony as we breathe. It's the breath that initiates the process. And of course, all these processes are cyclical and they involve a lot of physiological reactive loops of things. But if our breath is calm and open and we our mind is quiet enough to sink into the awareness of that divinity within ourselves, we know that we become in alignment with life itself. And as part of the flow of that alignment, our life will express itself from that divinity itself and magnetize to us whatever experience we need to grow further inside ourselves. The feedback loops, that's the word we were looking for. When we are in touch with that divinity, the feedback loops calm. And in that rest, in that resting place, we know it very well from osteopathy. There is a place in every treatment where one enters the sacred stillness, which exists within us always. And when we can bring ourselves into that stillness, which is the Nasa temple, which is connection with divinity, the junction point between our source and our experience is stillness. And in bringing ourselves into that stillness, there is a reset throughout the dimensions of what it is to be a human being that allows us to jump shift into dimensional awareness. And when we say dimensions, we're not, that clouds the issue. We are jump shifting into love as the source of our experience and the motivator for our actions. So it is cultivating the awareness of the stillness within us that is possible to allow us to consciously access stillness. And the paradox is that it's all about allowing and not at all about controlling. So there is a balance point. You know, we can choose to point ourselves in that direction. And cultivating the awareness of that stillness leads us to the contemplation of awareness itself, which is not exactly a contemplation, but an active experience. And the key here is active, dynamic. The word, this is not a philosophical discussion. This is an experience of presence with a capital P. An awareness that completely encompasses us and yet is beyond the beyond. And from here, in this place of magic, mystery, and miracle, everything arises. And everything subsides. Everything evolves out of, and everything dissolves into. And the leverage point is the breath. And from that experience of a really deep breath emerges the experience of potency itself. And that is creative potential. And then we're in the arena beyond words. And naming it anything reduces it. So we release ourselves into that. And the awareness of connectedness So this is the invitation. The invitation to ever deepening experience of that which we are trying to share. And of course, in this sharing, the overwhelming experience is balance and harmony. And this vast, vast field of creative energy that we could not be separate from, even if we tried very, very hard, which most of us have at some point or another. We welcome your feedback. Anything you'd like to share with us, we're here for it. So, yes, anything coming up? Andrew, anything? Okay. He's behind the music stand today for some reason. Hmm. Brenda, anything? You know, we noticed often that our dog goes into a state of stillness that is so quiet when he sleeps that, you know, I've looked at him and gone, "Are you dead?" Because it's so quiet, so completely still. And when we experience that within ourselves, that's the place where we, you know, find that connection. That depth of release of our own, whatever kerfuffle that's in the way, so that we can really feel into the depths of that within, which is within us. And this is what we see, we lose the pronouns. This is our message. Living in the Inasa temple, the invitation to never leave is to discover that connection so intimately that it's as close as the next breath. We just breathe ourselves into awareness of the whole, feeling our alignment, our lives become a completely different experience in which all parts are welcome. And this is where nirvana and samsara become the same. Not that we don't feel pain. Not that we don't feel joy and feel them as exquisitely different experiences. But all of it happens to all of us. And of course, we fear one and welcome the other. But we no longer have to be surprised. And to have the understanding and the ready experience of releasing ourselves to something which is the source of all that. Has lived through experience that we cultivate in ourselves every day. This is the greatest gift available to a human being. That's our story, and we're sticking to it. It's 11:11. That's a divine number, 1111. You guys probably know why more than Rebecca. It's been lost. Hmm. So I think we've hit our meditation space, and maybe we'll just stay here for the next few minutes with you. That's okay. There's certainly time for a question or a report if anyone would like. Otherwise, we'll just move into meditation. Thank you so much for coming. We are so grateful to Anasa for being here, to you for being here, and for the opportunity to experience both. So much love to you, so much gratitude. Till we meet again. Mm. Bye for now.